You don't have to come up with a terrific new idea to become an entrepreneur. You can buy and scale an already established business. Our guest launched an impact investing firm that addresses the racial and gender wealth gaps in the US by providing training and capital for BIPOC and women entrepreneurs to buy and scale existing small businesses. I love this unique pathway to entrepreneurship. And I know you're going to love our guests' stories and founder journey. Stay tuned. It's Fab Female Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. Let's glow, everyone. Woohoo! Okay. I'm just getting messages from time for music, everyone. Oh, hitting that live button is so much fun. How is everyone doing today? Welcome to the Startup Live Live Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after launching 4 businesses of my own, oh yeah, I have a really good idea of what you guys are crawling through every single day and how you're managing those high levels of uncertainty and navigating this new territory that you're in, right? Because nothing prepares you for founderhood. And so I'm so thrilled that you carved out time to up your founder game by tuning into the Startup Life Live Show. Because as you do better, that's right, your startup's going to do better. And it's a daily journey and a daily practice to continue to learn. And these founders we have on the show, oh my gosh, they share such wisdom. And my intention is that you feel less siloed, like you're feeling, oh, this only happens to me. No. It's what you're going through. Many founders are going through right at the same time with you. We're here to hold each other's hands, right? A big yoo-hoo to live stream viewers. Thanks, streamers, for tuning in with us, and replay viewers and podcast listeners. I'm so grateful for the gift of your presence. If you're tuning in live right now and you're on YouTube or you're watching the replay on YouTube, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. That way we can reach more founders. Thank you. And if you want to receive an alert whenever I post a new show, hop on over to the Startup Life Live meetup group. This way you'll get an alert whenever I have a new show, which is on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. ET. And maybe there's a founder or an investor you want to learn from, right? So get into that Startup Life Live meetup group. Links are in the show notes, so you can scan that QR code or visit that bit.ly link down the screen. I want to share a little something about a local company that I love and adore. This is Innovation Women. And wow, I have to tell you, I was at an event last weekend that had several manels. Do you know what manels are? Yeah, that's all men on the panels. And I got to tell you, quite a few of them also were just white men on the panels. And our good friend, Bobby Carlton and Innovation Women, they are so committed to ending all male panels. And so this effort has been launching this wonderful platform. And what they do is they help women experts, female founders, and storytellers get in front of event planners seeking female speakers. So please visit the bit.ly link, bit.ly/Ande Women to learn more. It is very affordable to join this group. Okay. Maybe $100 a year, I think. And wow, you can have tremendous opportunities to get on panels, especially you tech fab female founders. Come on, representation matters. All right. And then I also have some Ande-licious advice I want to share with you, a little nugget for your founder journey. And I'm wondering, perhaps you have seen or read Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements. Well, the 4th agreement is do your best. And your best is going to change from moment to moment, day to day, hour to hour, right? Especially as you up your founder game. And under any circumstance, simply doing your best is a terrific mindset hack for those negative, judgy inner voices that we have. Oh, you know what I'm talking about, how you should know better, all those shouldas, right? And this is a simple commitment that will ensure you can go on about your day without any regrets or blame and shame on yourself. And by giving yourself the freedom to do your best and be okay with that. It also gives the people in your life the freedom to do the same. It's a ripple effect. It's a lighten up, everybody. We're all doing our best, right? And the Andelicious takeaway is giving yourself permission to say, I did my best today. Without judgment is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and your startup. Because at the end of the day, you're going to feel good about your business and the progress you're making. Because, hey, you're doing your best. All right. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today. She's a local favorite. She's an incredible, incredible human as well. It's the wonderful Allegra Stennett. She's the co-founder of New Majority Capital. And I just love this idea. It's an impact investing firm that addresses the racial and gender wealth gaps in the United States by providing training and capital for BIPOC and women entrepreneurs to buy and scale existing small businesses. And prior to launching New Majority Capital, Allegra completed an MBA at MIT Sloan School of Management and an EDM in Education Policy and Management at Harvard Graduate School of Education. Come on. This is an amazing woman. Help me welcome her to the stage. It's the one and only Allegra Stennett. Hi, Allegra.
Hi, Ande. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you're here to join us and share your wisdom with the world. Folks, I'm so blessed. Allegra's right down the road here from me, like 10 minutes, right? And it's such a treat and so grateful when I know that this founder is right around the corner, although I love all of you from around the world, right? But anyway, Mia Voss, I'm so happy that you're here for this great conversation. And everybody, what do we do when Mia swings by and says hi? Oh, yeah, we do a shout out for her Shit We Don't Talk About podcast. Go visit shitwedon'ttalkaboutpodcast.com. Subscribe wherever you find your podcast because the conversations that only Mia can talk about, I got to tell you, it's these topics, Allegra, you know, the ones that you want to be talking about, but nobody is. Mia does it and nails it. So hooray. And Brent, thanks for swinging by and saying hi, folks. This is our neurodiverse, phenomenal founder out of Ottawa, Canada. And he is always reminding us that disability, whether it's visible or invisible, needs and should have a seat at the table. So thanks, Brent, for tuning in and saying hi. So Allegra, here you were minding your own business, right? Enjoying life. What called you? You were busy getting educated at every great school in our area in Boston. What called you and inspired you to launch New Majority Capital and become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, and you're right. I was minding my own business, as we say in the Black community. I was minding my Black-owned business, and it was actually my journey to entrepreneurship started before I even got to do the MBA, got to business school. So I was working at JP Morgan, and I was specifically in the healthcare banking group. And there, having the opportunity to interface with major healthcare clients, I was able to see there's a lot of inefficiencies in the US healthcare system. And just to quickly name one, to give you an example, the fax machine is a critical piece of infrastructure for the healthcare system. And we are in a very technologically advanced age where consumers really wouldn't have the expectations to still be using a fax machine. And so I thought to myself, I really want to create a digital healthcare company, and I'm going to go to business school to get the skills and tools and resources to do so. And so that's what I did. I applied to MIT, got in, planned to do healthcare and entrepreneurship and still have those ideas, but got there and pivoted, as many of us do. And so initially co-founded a fintech startup around angel investing and decided I didn't want to do that anymore. And then a classmate of mine, who's now my co-founder, Daryl Lindy, he calls me and he says, "Hey, I hear you're interested in search." And that was what he said. And I had no idea what search was at the time. And this is December of 2021, before my last semester at business school. And so I did some research and he's like, "Hey, you should meet some guys that I'm talking to. And we're thinking about doing something together." And so fast forward about 2 months later, I met my now co-founders and we decided to, interestingly enough, literally after Havel Rodriguez, co-founder and CEO of NMC, after he, gave me the pitch, he's like, "Are you in, or do you need some time to think about it?" Right, like at the end of the meeting, and I said, "I'm in. Like, I know this is sounds exactly what I want to do." And there was like no hesitation. And so at that moment, really, the NMC co-founder team was formed, and we've been working at it ever since. And as you'll go into, our focus is on the gender and racial wealth gaps and providing access to capital. And that's something that I, as someone who had previously co-founded a startup that was focused on specifically angel investors and female founders, I was very intimately aware of the problem. And so glad to have this opportunity now to be in a position where we are working on solving the problem every single day.
Oh my gosh. And I can feel that the lived experience that you had that prepared you along the way. First of all, being in both commercial and investment banking at JP Morgan, right? So you're getting exposed to all walks of life and different abilities for generating wealth. And you're probably seeing some holes there going, And then you get what I love, what inspired you to go back to school. I'm going to become a femtech founder. I'm going to make this so much easier. I'm going to make healthcare get digitized completely. And folks, this is the beauty of life. When you say yes to something, it doesn't mean that's what it's going to be. You say yes, you go onto that lily pad, you hop on there for a while, you go, oh, this is interesting. And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go do this fintech here. Nobody says you have to just sink your teeth in it and stick with your initial idea, right, Allegra? You can continue to unfold and find out passion and what you're doing. And then Havel comes to you. He said, oh, how much do I love Havel? Local, fintech, brilliant, human, wonderful man here in the Boston ecosystem, but worldwide as well. I love that you guys met. Like, how did you meet him?
Yeah, so Havel and I met because so Havel met Daryl, my other co-founder, on this website called searchfunder.com. So it's pretty much, you can think of Searchfunder as the LinkedIn, as the community tool for the search fund and entrepreneurship through acquisition space. So it's like a watering hole for investors, for entrepreneurs, for other stakeholders. And so that's where we meet and chat about the different things that, is happening in the search fund space. And so they met on that site, and then Daryl called me, and then I met Havel because we're all local here in the Boston area. So that's how we.
And did you meet him at our wonderful fintech sandbox that we have here?
We actually met at CIC, which is
which one? The Kendall Square?
Yeah, Kendall Square. Yeah.
Oh, can we just take a moment and do a shout out? Because they sponsored our monthly pitch event for 3 years, CIC. I love them, something fierce. But folks, on Thursday night, was that where you met them? At the Venture Cafe? At the Venture Cafe, did you meet?
Not at the Venture Cafe, but we met at in one of the offices there.
Oh, see, folks, yeah, this is what we're spoiled here in Boston. We have so much support for startups, and the CIC, which we love and adore, very innovative office space, but support. They on Thursday nights have this thing called the Venture Cafe. You show up, the beer's flowing, there's wine, there's food, and tons of startup founders or people who support the startup ecosystem here, ready to chat and support each other. Love them. And, and I love that this random connection between Daryl saying Search Funder. I have not heard about Search Funder. The minute we end this episode, I'm going to go research it myself, for crying out loud. It sounds amazing. And him bringing in Havel, it's just, these are the serendipitous moments that can happen for a business that you could not have planned in a million years. Right, Allegra?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the story of my entire life from a career perspective is unplanned. Like, I didn't plan to be a banker. I didn't plan, I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I thought I was going to go to law school. I had no idea business school was in the cards, MIT or Harvard specifically. So yeah, I think you're doing great work and opening yourself up to new opportunities, they will come along. So, yeah.
Right. And Mia's nailing it right here. Holy wow. Allegra's story is amazing already. Her curiosity and tenacity are so impressive. Quote, so that's what I did. Quote, is her tagline.
Thank you, Mia.
That's so great, Mia. Thank you for that. And it's true. And, there's so much effort put on planning, and I'm going to make this happen, and I'm going to make that happen. but it removes the opportunity for magic to happen, for incredible moments that are like, what? I couldn't have planned this in a million years to happen if you're so grasping onto your strategy and how you're going to make something happen. And you're the best representation of that, Allegra. Had you been around entrepreneurs growing up, or were you a hustler in third grade moving product? I mean, did you have any barriers to entry being an entrepreneur, or had you seen signs already that you were meant for this life?
Yeah, that's now that you mention it, that's actually funny. I was to some degree a hustler in third grade. So my elementary school, every year we had to sell, like as a fundraiser, we would sell like chocolates from a book, or the orange fundraiser where they'd order boxes of oranges from Florida and then you distribute it.
Yeah.
And every year, my mom's like a master seller. And so I definitely got that from her. And so every year we won the competition, and I'd get like a big teddy bear as like the kid whose family raised the most money. And so, yeah. And then when I was in high school, we would sell, like my mom sells cakes. She did that growing up, and so she's like a baker on the side. And so I would sell cupcakes for high school fundraisers as well for my class.
Excellent. So you were moving product and getting people to buy your vision and mission when you were younger. I love that. Something fierce. So let's talk about new majority capital. I have a few questions because everybody, that you need a reason to get up every day when it's really hard. You got to have that passionate North Star that you can hold on to, that keeps moving you forward no matter what's going on. And so I'm wondering, what compelled you to want to dissolve the racial and gender wealth gap through this type of initiative? And how did you and the team come up with this name for your business?
Yeah. So to your first question about, how this became the mission, and that specifically being narrowing the gender and racial wealth gaps in the country, it's a disadvantage for America. It's a disadvantage for us on a global scale to have the wealth gap in its place. And so our mission is really to make sure that women, that people of color they have representation in and equity in ownership of small businesses. And that is a way to transform not only their lives, but the communities in which they come from, also the general economy. And so that's why this is important to us. And me specifically, having experienced, the role of being a female founder and knowing the statistics about access to capital and working on that, it made complete sense. It's like, oh yeah, a lot of us are told that we need to start a company, but why don't you buy cash flow instead of building it? It's much harder to build it. If you buy it, you take out you de-risk your entrepreneurial journey. And that's what we are interested in doing, and de-risking an entrepreneurial journey while also allowing individuals to scale really exciting and successful companies.
Oh my gosh, I'm having an Ande-licious moment. Buy cash flow versus build it. Come on, chef's kiss everybody for that. And here's why. Starting and launching the business, there's so much uncertainty. And one that's already established, that has a track record and traction,
Mhm.
see it better. And also, there's this mythology, Allegra, that you've got to build a unicorn or why bother, right? And that's crazy. Small business is a wonderful way to grow and glow in life and build wealth. And so thank you for that, and really helping us understand better that small businesses are viable ways to go. Because sometimes someone to start the business, but they got a new lily pad to hop onto, right? And so talk about how this works. What is the mission and vision for New Majority Capital, and how will it work for folks?
Sure. Yeah. So our goal is to have more women and people of color acquiring small businesses and then scaling them into much larger companies. In terms of how it works, we're raising a $50 million fund, which will be used to help our entrepreneurs. We have a pipeline of over 100 entrepreneurs that are anywhere in the process of like finding a business to closing on one as early as this month, actually. And so we are raising 50 million to help them do that. In addition, we have our nonprofit New Majority Capital Foundation, and through the foundation, which we are grant seeking, we've received grants to run our accelerator and our program for existing business owners. So we
Oh
have,
my gosh, you've got everything going on.
yeah, it's a bit of everything over here. Yeah, for sure. So we have an 8-week accelerator, and that takes individuals through the process of learning what is ETA, entrepreneurship through acquisition, how to do due diligence, how do you negotiate a deal, submit an LOI, and close, and then scale your business. So what are some strategies for scaling? So it takes them through that process, and after which we work with Babson College and ICIC on those initiatives. And after that, they are then left to go find a company to acquire.
Yeah.
After we do our due diligence, in addition to some of our partners, they would be approved for funding, and they go through the process of acquiring the business and becoming the owner. So
This is wonderful. And how often will you have the accelerator? It's an 8-week program. Will you have 2 a year or?
we'll have 2 a year. Our first one is actually accepting applications now. We had over 100 people register for our intro workshop.
And how
And
many people will be in the accelerator?
about 30 people.
Oh, that's terrific. And is
Yeah.
the accelerator free?
It is free. It's free with a stipend for individuals that successfully complete. Yeah.
Oh my God. Get the clappers at it. Come on, everybody. Come on. That is such a value add. Seriously. Whose idea was that?
It was a team idea. Yeah, for sure. I was heavily involved in the development of the curriculum. But yeah, we came
This
together.
is
This is a great
Yeah, this is so important, Allegra, what you all are doing, because folks, it's one thing to get OPM, other people's money, LP's money, et cetera, into your $50 million fund. Holy smokes, right? And now you want to make sure that you are capitalized effectively, that you're going to have the best return on the efforts that you give folks. Why not prepare them to the best of your ability to actually make the best decisions that will be scalable and get them prepared to sit in that founder seat and have the lens. I really see that accelerator program giving them the lens with which to look through and discern, right? Because they might get a little pitter patter from a business that they could buy, but they need to take it through a filter to make sure it's also viable and all of that. And then you give them a stipend for the accelerator, which is so important so they can be fully focused on this experience.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. I love this something fierce. And so, as you start to, pull your ideas together, right? You had to do what every founder does, which is come up with a minimum viable product that you could show people, and then start figuring out what's our product market fit, customer segment, who are we going after? Can you walk us through a little bit about that process for you and the New Majority Capital team?
Sure. So in terms of, on the NMC side, we're raising this fund, and excuse me, our customer really will be the individual who will go out and acquire the business, which will be one of our portfolio companies. And so in terms it's structured like a typical private equity fund. The only difference there is that we have a non-extractive vesting schedule in terms of how an individual has ownership. And so we've designed 3 financial structures that will allow an entrepreneur, will give them flexibility in terms of how they acquire the company. And what has kept a lot of Black and brown and women entrepreneurs out of this space is access to capital. And so we have a structure where an entrepreneur doesn't have to have a down payment to acquire a business. And in exchange for that, their equity is vesting over a specific period of time, to where they would have up to 100% ownership. That's how the fund is designed.
And the fund, and this is not like a revenue model fund. Then it's really a true equity, or is it a combo?
So it's a true equity play for the entrepreneurs. They'll gain equity. However, they have the option as to how the deal is capitalized. So whether it is 100% equity, are they doing majority through an SBA 7 loan program, or are they have an option to do a split debt equity with our fund and one of our banking partners.
Oh my gosh. Like, you must get up every day and go, thank you. I mean, because seriously, Allegra, your ability to help people who never get in the door. I was a banker for a bajillion-dollar bank back in the day after I earned my MBA. I lasted 3 years, and I wasn't there because I was a good fit. I was there because I wanted to do financial analysis on all types of companies, but I know how bankers think. I also have been involved with VC for 30 years, so I know how VCs think and LPs think. So you've just pulled so many wonderful parts together for NMC in such a way that you are going to be able to address the racial and gender wealth gap. I mean, this is just has so many legs. That's why I said you must wake up every day going, "Yay, thank you." So, hey, Maxwell Murray, thanks for joining the stream today. I love your comment. Maxwell saying women in BIPOC ownership, entrepreneurship are not just about the communities they directly improve. This work impacts the full economy. A more inclusive market is a more vibrant and strong market. Also, purchasing and scaling cash flow instead of starting from scratch is a very smart play. Maxwell, mwah, perfect comment. I love that. Thank you so much for that beautiful insight. And he's absolutely right. And this is what, and also nobody, I don't see anybody doing this. Do you see any competitors out there?
So in terms of direct competitors, in terms of the individuals that we're looking to support, no. In the general search fund space, yes, there are a lot of, there's certain search fund accelerators, there are a lot of search fund investors out there. But in terms of the programs that we've put in place, the financing structures that we've put in place, we don't have much competition on that.
Oh no! I please get the publicity going, will you? I want to see you everywhere. Fast Company, Inc., HuffPost, Wall Street Journal. Let's get going. People need to know about this. This is amazing. I have a few questions about the whole process. One is, will someone have to go through the accelerator before you consider them fundable, or can someone come to you and you go, "Wowza, they're ready to grow and glow"?
Yeah, so just that goes back to our pipeline. So right now we have a pipeline of over 100 entrepreneurs, and they've all been inbound. So they didn't do our accelerator. They've come to us. So just to give you some framing for this, typically the search fund industry is something that a lot of individuals hear about after having done an MBA program. So search funds as a concept was popularized by Stanford in the 1980s. And so it has been historically, to some degree, gate kept at these elite institutions. And our thesis is you don't need to have done an elite MBA to run a small business successfully. Majority of small business owners don't have MBAs. And so our goal is to bring it out of the academic confines and bringing it into the public, particularly for underrepresented entrepreneurs. So we're doing the accelerator to be used as a pipeline for the fund. But as of date, individuals are able to, our entrepreneurs are able to work with us not having done the accelerator, because the majority of them have already done an MBA program. So they've gained the skills that they would get through the accelerator.
Excellent. Could my smile get any wider, folks? Honest to goodness, I am all over this idea because of course I've interviewed over 220 founders on the show here, and I hear it's all diverse founders, and the screaming of the having to find creative ways to get the capital they need. It's like, and then of course, as you know, everything went down last year in the VC funding arena. So less than 2%. And of course, any Black founders is less than 0.5%. So you are such a service, and you're going to be a gift that keeps on giving. It reminds me, we had Sarah Drusick on the show from Enigma Ventures. She and her husband wanted to change the GDP in Africa. Now that's like your goal. That's a very lofty goal. Well, they founded a business called Under Canvas. It's a glamping, right? Kind of out of Africa kind of glamping. Built it up over an 8-year period, sold it for $110 million, moved to Johannesburg, and they are investing with the goal of investing in 1,000 female founders and getting them to 100 million a year. Mm-hmm. And that's how they'll reach their goal. this is how you're doing it. It's very structured. It's very supportive. How has been raising the funds been? I mean, I know you have Havel, but maybe you have other great connections on board, because again, you're going to be up against bias as you bring in, as you talk to the LPs, as you talk to the institutional funds for your funding. How has that journey been going?
Yeah, so the fundraising journey is just a grind in general. It's like, so it's, a physical grind. I've been into San Francisco twice, been to LA, talking to investors and stakeholders. Same thing with my other co-founders. But we are seeing a lot of traction and a lot of interest. So particularly, I think the main two camps outside of individual LPs, the main two camps are institutional and then also impact investors. So those are the two largest buckets that we anticipate to fill our round. And the advantage for the institutional side, particularly for financial institutions and banks, is that they can get CRA credits by becoming LPs in our fund. And then when it comes to the impact investors, they're already familiar with this space. So for them, it's like, okay, this makes sense. I'm on board. And so we have 7.5 million in commitments so far, and banks and impact investors make up the majority of that, including foundations like endowments that have a mandate to invest in impact.
And your differentiator is the small business arena, right, Lane?
Right. And so when it comes to VC investors, traditional VC investors, it's more of an education for them, because from what I'm seeing is that a lot of them have not heard about search or ETA as a space. And they're also so used to investing in pre-revenue companies. So when you say to them, hey, these companies, it's much de-risked here because the companies already have profit, they already have customers, all these buckets that you want your startups to check. We've checked all those boxes already.
I love that. And will you be able to get going, even though you haven't reached, like you said, you want to have a $50 million fund? Can that be like $5-10 million funds?
Yeah. So our first close is 10 million. So we're working towards that. And then once we hit 10 million, we'll start deploying the capital. But in the interim, while we raise the fund, we're building a track record through some of the entrepreneurs that we work with and the deals that we're diligencing for them. And we have 2 capital partners that are looking at deals and that have actually funded some of the deals that they've received through us. So we've been able to build track record.
That's wonderful, because that really helps you as you demonstrate, as you raise money. You get to show, here's we got a few in the pipeline here, here's how we're working this, that's how we're moving it forward. It's a really good beta test. Are all 4 of you diverse?
So in terms of the makeup, myself, there's Daryl, who's Black, Havel, who's Indian, and Chris, he's white and married into a Black family, and that brings a lot of context to his involvement in the work.
Right. I ask that because, when you go to raise capital, especially as a woman and a woman of color, the bias is just ridiculous. How have you navigated that? What have you learned along the way that other founders could benefit from as you were faced with implicit bias, unconscious bias, whatever the bias was? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I believe it was Allison Byers who just made a post that went viral to some degree on LinkedIn about the VC world being good at talking about diversity and bad at writing checks.
Yep.
And so I think bringing that to awareness right now, a lot of investors, a lot of stakeholders are aware of the fact that this is a problem, and they are in a position to solve it. And so for us, it's a unique time. I think it's a better time as opposed to if we did this 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Now is a great time where this is top of mind for a lot of investors, and that's making it a bit easier to some degree. And then also a lot of the people that we're talking to already have an interest in this space. So for them, it's just seeing, does this make sense for their portfolio? We're not encountering, at least from my perspective, as much of bias as a female entrepreneur as I would have. This was particularly before George Floyd's murder. A lot of institutions made commitments to saying, hey, we're interested in advancing racial equity and economic justice. And so we are an opportunity to say, okay, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, they've had 3 years with this opportunity. With all due respect, everyone out there, I'm right there shoulder to shoulder with Allison Byers, and she's the wonderful founder of one of the companies that we love to promote here on the show, Scroobius, of Human First Fundraising Experience, but she's a real voice in the lip service that continues to happen. And what I learned at HBS's event last Saturday on the VC and private equity arena and industry at this point in time, the bias is because they're looking for the guarantee almost. And so also the mindset that I heard continually expressed throughout this event was really quite fascinating among the students as well as the speakers was, we're here to build wealth for ourselves and the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept on commenting, well, what about building wealth with impact? Okay. And this is what you're doing so well at New Majority Capital. I am hopeful that the pendulum is swinging, that the institutions, because they're the ones up the river, folks, the VCs are here and they're going to go with what they're used to going with for a guaranteed outcome that they're looking for, what they're used to, that whole pattern matching. But it is the ones who are funding their funds who have to have checks with their checks, meaning you need to spend and invest this amount of the money we're giving you in companies like New Majority Capital. So I'll get off my soapbox for right now, but I go a little cray on that because Allegra, I've been around, I'm on Route 66 right now. I've been heavily involved in the VC world since 1989. Okay. So I've been hearing for forever. And I wish someone could just hold them to task and make it happen. And I think you and your team have a phenomenal chance at really building and changing this focus because of the fact that your companies are still not I wonder if they'll work out. They already work. Let's scale them.
Right.
And see, that's beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about, when you have an impact fund like you're doing and you're pulling together an impact business, in your for-profit, and that's all wonderful. Will you maybe go the route of a B Corp, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, so we're actually pending B Corp status right now. So we've gone that route and definitely see the value in being a part of, part of that cohort. So yeah, we're definitely planning on being a B Corp.
Yeah, I think that's great. You know what I'd love to do right now? I'd love to share your Wefunder campaign. Do you mind if I pull that up?
Sure.
Oh, I'd love to, because this is, again, folks, we are here to add wind to our guests' sales, right? And to each other's sales. So I pulled this up here and I'll scroll down. I might go ahead and put it into full screen more like that. But hey, what? Does this true? 461,000 to date?
It's actually short 100,000. So we're at 566 last
time
I checked.
My gosh, Allegra, you and the team, come on. And folks, the beauty of a campaign like Wefunder, this is called equity crowdfunding, or Reg C, which means all the details, all the SEC, all the important things that you have to do when you raise capital are in here. And what this gives everyone is an opportunity to invest a minimum of $200 to be an owner with Havel, with Chris, with Allegra. Okay. And we show more. And Daryl. And, Warren Buffett is always saying and telling us to be, owners in a company, but for only $200, you get to be part of this incredible experience, this groundbreaking way of helping to address the racial and gender wealth gap. Congratulations here. I love this. And go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you.
Well, Allegra, I just want everybody to know the links to the Wefunder campaign will be in the show notes. And I wanted to show that because, folks, you don't have to just raise $10,000. Look how well New Majority is doing already with their Wefunder campaign. I would encourage folks, and I can actually say this without getting in trouble, because again, You don't have to be accredited investor. You can be anybody. You could be making 50K a year, and you peel off $200 and you can put it into that fund and be an owner and get the updates and say, yep, I was there in the beginning with new majority capital, right, Allegra?
Definitely. And we welcome all folks that are interested in our mission, interested in being a part to invest in our Wefunder.
That's so great. So tell us more about how you're going to measure success, because you're still in the initial stages yourself, and so there's going to be different parameters, right? Different measuring moments and milestones as you begin to build. What does success look like for you, both for new majority capital, but also for you, Allegra Stennett, from this
Yeah.
experience?
Yes, I think for me, that's an easy answer. It's an easy and complex answer at the same simultaneously. So for me, success is Black economic development. I think that for me is what I wake up and think about, and it keeps me going in the moments of in the challenging moments of being a founder. It's something I'm passionate about, obviously having lived a experience as a Black person in the United States, and I think it's something that once we figure that out, America as a whole will be so much better, and the world really across the diaspora. And so, with regards to new majority capital, success for us looks like a few different things. Obviously, we want acquisitions, right? So, this would not be successful if our entrepreneurs don't end up actually acquiring companies and then scaling them. We want our companies to scale, and then for those that are for the founders that are minority founders, for them to go on and get contracts with companies and scale their businesses. Same thing for our women founders. And so that is, I think, one of the main metrics that we're looking at in terms of success. Also is an education piece of this. So we're launching our accelerator, and the goal is to launch across the nation in 5 hub cities, those being DC, Baltimore, Atlanta, Oakland, and Minneapolis. We have some other cities potentially on the horizon, being New York, Chicago, Tulsa. And so we're going to be running our programming through those cities, and our goal is to train individuals, bring them into awareness about this as a concept, as this as a feasible option of entrepreneurship, and getting that word outside of the MBA classroom. So I think those are 2 main lofty goals.
Oh, absolutely. You'll be able to just quantify that in a heartbeat, because you'll get the feedback, you'll start seeing the movement and momentum, et cetera. And don't we just all love that Allegra and the team are pulling this little kept secret out of the elite educational institutions and bringing it out to everybody? And also, thank you, Allegra, for your deep commitment to Black economic development. It is key. You may recall a few years ago in our beautiful city, which has a lot of wealth gap going on, when the mayor, I believe, or somebody in a government position said, well, we would hire more Black owned businesses if we could find them. And so the Boston Black Economic Council said, really? Okay. And they filled the Boston Convention Center with Black founded businesses and said, come on down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw when that happened or not.
I didn't see when that happened, but I'm well aware of the racial wealth gap in Boston. I think there was a report that came out that said the gap is like $8 of worth for a Black family compared to like 200 something thousand for a white family. And so it's an issue here for sure.
Big time issue. And so I think that you all and the team are addressing something that is so, so important to, again, around the US. So it's just needed. And folks, it's the capital. All right. It's the money to do the business, purchase the business, grow a business, and the support. It is not there enough for our Black community, for our Black entrepreneurs. So it's very exciting that you're doing that. And no one succeeds alone. You hear stories, right, Allegra, about how, oh yeah, I'm a self-made person. That's correct. It's not true at all. And so who have you had add wind to your sails and open doors that you want to do just a little shout out for?
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of people, but I'll just shout out a few from my corporate journey. I think getting to business school, John Bonholm, who is a managing director at JP Morgan, he was very instrumental in my MBA journey. Um, Crystal Ward as well. She's a former banker at JP Morgan. She's now an executive pastor at Spencerville, St. Adventist Church in Maryland. Those are two for sure. And then when it comes to getting into business school, lots of people there. Currently, I have one mentor. This is something I thought about. It's like leaving corporate America, the mentorship structure, it's very clear as to this is what you need to do to get to this level. You're an analyst, you want to become an associate, you want to become a VP. These are the people that you need to meet. This is what you need to do. When you're in the entrepreneurship world, it's like, I don't know what that looks like now. There's no like, okay, I'm here, I need to get to this next promotion.
And you don't have the social capital, right?
Right.
Because I mean, you had your social capital at JP Morgan and some from your life, but now you're in a different arena and it's a whole different level of type of social connections. Yes.
Right. And so like professors have been very helpful in that. Meeting alumni of Harvard and MIT have been super helpful in making connections and opening doors. So I don't have permission to name those folks.
Yeah, that's
But
okay.
I can definitely say they've been instrumental when it comes to leveraging networks is super important. And just to see the doors that can be opened for you. I met a Harvard alum in Atlanta a few months ago, and the doors that have been opened from that, it's just like recently he's just like, oh yeah, I can make the phone call to the CEO of this major company, and I'm just like, amazing, let's do it. So
Get the clappers out for
yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing this because a lot of times it's hard to ask, right? It's hard to go and reach out to folks and say, look, I don't know nobody. Okay. Can you help me? Folks, just ask.
Mhm.
Okay. The answer is always no unless you ask.
Definitely.
And it's so important. So thank you for sharing those who have helped you along the way. And then entrepreneurship, right? This is your first time really diving deep into it with a founding team and going big and something you can really sink your teeth into and all your passion and commitment. How has this journey so far served you both professionally and personally?
Oh yeah, it's very rewarding because I'm in a position where I'm really enjoying the work that I'm doing and every aspect of it. Like I loved being a banker, but I didn't enjoy every single aspect. In this role, I'm really enjoying even the difficult aspects. I enjoy it. When I was a banker, leaving banking to come to business school, I never really thought I would work harder than I did as a banker, and it's definitely possible. Working, I tell the joke on the team is that I work the graveyard shift, which I'm trying to change, and so I'm up late at night. People have received emails from me at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's just like because if I don't send it out there, it's like it's right on the ideas right on my mind. So I need to like get it out. I'm working on my bedtime as a
Oh my God. I love that Allegra, she's on our co-founding team. She's the one who works the graveyard shift.
yeah.
Well,
So
that's great.
and professionally, it's really rewarding because to see the impact. I remember I went to a conference last year and I met a woman and I was telling her, she was explaining to me a challenge she was having with her business. And I was telling her, well, you could buy a business that would solve this problem. And she almost got into tears just because she didn't know the idea was possible. And just, opening people's eyes to the idea that, hey, if you're struggling in this, you can actually just buy a business that's already doing this and move forward that way.
Absolutely. And I love, love, love that you changed her life with that, with your insights and awareness, increasing her awareness. And then is it possible that someone could have a business and they want to bring more businesses underneath their umbrella? Are you here is NMC here to help folks do that as well?
Yeah, we are able to help people do that. People have come to us with that idea. That's typically called a roll-up strategy. So where you acquire smaller companies that are perhaps in the industry that you're already operating in, and then roll it up into one company, and you're able to achieve some efficiencies there. So yeah, that is definitely an option.
I love that. What final advice would you like to share with founders that will help them with their mindset and their own mission as an entrepreneur before we wrap everything up?
Yeah, I'd say for founders, if you're struggling in a specific area, if you're struggling perhaps with product market fit, it might make sense for you to look and see if there's business that's already doing what you're doing, a small business, and acquiring that business so you can acquire the IP, acquire the customers, and scale that way. You can scale into something that's venture backable that way. But also, I think my final message would be to investors, particularly those that have made commitments. Put your money where your mouth is, right? dis Take away the thought that, oh, we've invested in XYZ founders in the past and that's the pattern that we have to continue going down. I'd advise you to take a risk that will definitely reap the rewards when it comes to investing in founders that don't look like the founders that you invested in before.
That's right. Oh, Allegra, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing New Majority Capital's mission and vision and purpose and impact. It has been a thrilling conversation. I'm so excited. I'm so hopeful for the future, not just for your work, but also for many, many founders and wannabe entrepreneurs out there. Now that they have a whole new idea, what I could do that. That's a problem I want to solve, but they're solving it already. This is amazing. So thank you. And thank you for your remarkable purpose of helping to dissolve the racial and gender wealth gap for BIPOC and female entrepreneurs. This is so important.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. And I can't wait to hug you in real life here in Boston. I'm sure we're going to run into an event, maybe at the CIC, and give my best to Havel, will you?
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Did you all learn as much as I did on this conversation with Allegra? It's all about finding different pathways to reach your goal in life, right? And as an entrepreneur, this is just mind blowing. This is a whole new way of getting to the vision you have for your life, and especially with the wealth generation possibility. And I just love how they are educating folks on how to purchase the best business for them and then giving them the funding as well. It's a beautiful combination. So let me share with you who's coming up on the show next. And it's going to be Valentine's Day. Isn't that exciting? And we're chatting with Karen Lee, who is on a mission to reimagine e-commerce for beauty lovers by providing a trusted marketplace for buying and rehoming new beauty products. Glow Beauty is empowering beauty lovers to become more conscious consumers, pushing against an industry that encourages overconsumption. And as the first consumer to consumer re-commerce marketplace for beauty, Glow enables consumers to easily buy and sell makeup, skincare, and beauty products. Oh, it's going to be a heart-filled conversation on Tuesday, February 14th at 12 p.m. And how do you know whenever I post a new show? That's right. You join the Startup Life Live meetup group. Hop on over there and join and get an alert whenever I post a new show. Until I see you again here on the live stream or via replay or on the podcast, I encourage you to remember that you are braver than you believe and stronger than you seem. And as we say here in Boston, you're wicked smarter than you think. Wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Cheers, everyone. Mwah.